Joe in real life. Welcome to another unsolicited book review. Today's book, Philip Stutz and what's his name? Barry Michaels, The Tools. I got interested in The Tools from Jonah Hill's Netflix movie, Stutz, about his therapist. I found it unbelievably compelling and just that kind of amazing that there was a therapist out there who was using like practical tools to make changes in the immediate, with his patients. The movie downplayed the use of, let's call them spiritual elements in the treatment. And I use that loosely and without any sort of prejudiced barbs hidden in it. I probably didn't come through when I said that, but that's what I meant. The book leans far more heavily into that, and that's probably a marketing choice, which, if I'm honest, makes quite a bit of sense. But the book, anyway, my girlfriend got me this book for my birthday 2 weeks ago, and I was really excited to read it. I had just finished the Chaos Magic book that I reviewed last week, and I was very much excited about getting into something a little more grounded. That is not what I got. This book is not grounded. Well, it's grounded in that the advice takes place on the ground and it happens in real time. So that part was awesome. The spiritual aspects were uncomfortable for me. And I say uncomfortable in that I don't necessarily have a major issue with them. Only that I'm skeptical. I'm a skeptic. I'm agnostic. So it was a struggle at first for me to use the tools. Now that being said, I have been using them all week, and I gotta say, the results are pretty great. I mean, I am far less prone to negativity and a sort of spiraling, they call it the maze, spiraling into the maze of like resentment and contempt that is, just part of my character that I've dived into pretty much my entire life, this 46 years. And the tools have definitely helped with that. I will say too, the sort of spirituality prescribed in the tools is far more of a secular spirituality. And in fact, I think with just a little bit of mental acrobatics, not even a lot, you could apply and justify the tools on purely rationalistic grounds. I mean, just as an example, you don't know what I'm talking about. So there are 5 tools, and each of the 5 tools requires you to elicit the help of a higher force, right? Just something higher than yourself, not unlike AA, a God of your understanding. But they don't use the word God, a higher force, and you implement it to kind of overcome these daily life hassles. The processes take between a second and 5 seconds. And I find them very effective. Like, kind of shockingly, unbelievably effective. But, and that was a super bad description, and I apologize. But, from a secular rationalist viewpoint, really what you're doing is you're interrupting garbage thought patterns. You're catching yourself with a cue when you enter into these unproductive, toxic thought patterns, and you're implanting another thought pattern to help you override it. Rather than invoking some spiritual force from outside that's elevating you, instead all all you're doing, and this is only the secularist viewpoint or rationalist viewpoint, instead all you're doing is preventing a negative thought pattern from dragging you down. Like, I said it would require some mental acrobatics, but I just did it in like 2 minutes, and it wasn't even acrobatic. Like, it wasn't really that hard. It wasn't that hard to do. Now, both Phil and Barry would disagree with that assessment. And I'm not convinced they're wrong, you know? But that's a worldview you could take to approach this book. Suffice, it's great. It's sometimes a little naive, but I highly recommend the tools. And I definitely recommend the movie. Jonah Hill's movie was amazing. And Phil Stutz is just a really cool person that you're going to like a lot. I think that's it. I made kind of like a pseudo New Year's resolution, but it was a birthday resolution where I'm going to read a book every week. When I'm not going to beat myself up if I don't read a book every week. It's just a point of demarcation, you know. And I'm gonna do like short little chats before I do my squats about each book. Questions, comments, concerns below. If you've read the tools, if you'd like to read the tools, you want to come back to this video in a few months and talk about it. I'll be here. I'll be here every day. I highly recommend this book, and I recommend the Chaos Protocols as well. 2 books in 2 weeks. So far, I'm batting 1,000. Next, I'm going to read High Magic by Damien Eccles, because I read 2 books on magic. One on purpose and one by accident. So I'm going to read another one on purpose and see what happens. Yeah, stay tuned. I'm going to squat. Yeah, that's what I do here. I squat. All right. As if called upon by Phil and Barry's higher forces themselves immediately after filming that little book review, I hit the mat, I started doing my burpees, and I got a sharp, crunchy pain in my right shoulder. The kind of pain you don't fool with. I'm going to retry my burpees later, but suffice, I haven't dropped a burpee war in over 5 years, and I got real angry, real fucking beside myself with grief. And I sat on the floor, I used one of the tools, completely reset my perspective, completely. Like in 5 seconds, you know? I was able to take a step back, see it for what it is, realize that this day, if I kept doing burpee wars, is inevitable, and that I'm gonna bounce back from it and I'm gonna be fine, you know? And like, I have a lot to be grateful for, which coincides with the tool I used. It might be that I'm out of the burpee war, you know? I'm gonna go to work, come home, and try again. I'm just doing pause squats in this video. It was like, it's an interesting pain in my shoulder, because it's like if I turn my neck by surprise, I get that sharp, exhilarating sensation. You know the one I'm talking about. I don't have to go any farther than that. Oh yeah, this was for the YouTube shorts. And like, it's not that serious, but I don't want to fool with it. It's a nerve thing for sure. Suffice. How do I wrap this up? I highly recommend the book, The Tools. I highly recommend it. And even if you're skeptical, even if you're a rationalist, because certainly I am, I think you'll get a lot out of it. And I think it can genuinely help you and help people. And maybe that's it for today. I'll keep you posted tomorrow, let you know how it goes. This is Joe in real life. I love you guys. Be good to each other today.